Hi, I'm Jess Davis. I'm a proud Aboriginal woman with connections to Palawakin. I've worked in the ECEC education and care sector for over 15 years in rural, remote and urban settings. In 2016, I lived in Katherine in the Northern Territory, working with communities and local service providers in the education and care sector. My eldest son at the time was 3 years old and he had a current diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and ADHD, and later to be diagnosed with tic disorders, movement disorders, generalised anxiety and depression. At the time when we were living in Katherine, we were under a previous disability scheme and trying to access interventions and supports for my son, specifically OT and speech. We weren't able to access the therapies due to lack of supports and systems and structures available. Relocating my family to Western Sydney in New South Wales allowed us to be able to not only access intervention but access a variety of therapies and services and supports for my son and also myself and my family to support us in that carer role. We were able to access multiple wraparound integrated services, and some of those included psychology, psychiatry, music therapy, supports for my son to engage in community sports and events and participate in the local and wider communities. We also had movement therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. None of these supports were readily available in Katherine, the Northern Territory at the time. And having that lived experience and professional knowledge of working in the education and care sector, I knew of the importance of having these supports to improve outcomes for Owen, my son. However, what I didn't intend was the benefit for myself and my family in that caring role to be able to focus on my well-being as well and give me the skills and strategies to support my son and also my other son, who is essentially a carer as well. Even though he's younger, he does provide that caring role because he has to be aware of the different abilities and needs of my eldest and how we cater for that in our home. So all of these, which are extremely stressful situations at different points in our life, but having those supports, it's extremely powerful in terms of well-being, improving outcomes for all of us. The thing that I think I also wasn't expecting was the multiple services, so that we could find a provider or a therapist that was the right fit for our child, and knowing the importance of having secure and safe relationships and attachments with those providers allowed Owen to really thrive and grow in those spaces. Fortunately for our family, we had the agency and opportunity and privilege to be able to relocate to Western Sydney to ensure we could access all the therapies and the supports required. But for many families across the Territory, this isn't an option, and it's a child's right to be able to access quality, safe, culturally responsive therapies, supports, education and care. And so it's really important that we do have this strong focus and advocacy towards the work in this space and ensuring that children have the opportunity to be able to access the targeted therapies and the right supports that address their needs and their families' needs to ensure that they have every opportunity to thrive.